Anger is a feeling we are all familiar with, although we experience it and express it in different ways. The usual cause of anger is our reaction to an unfair decision or treatment, as well as to criticism, being embarrassed in public, being bullied, standing too long in a queue, reaction to somebody's rude behavior, being ignored, losing, being dumped, etc. However, although anger is a perfectly natural part of life, it doesn't mean it's something we should encourage. On the contrary, most people try to control their anger, especially in social situations. Perhaps there were times in our distant past when being openly angry was a crucial survival skill. However, in the sophisticated and densely populated world we now live in, different survival techniques will help you succeed. Like with so many other things in life, there are two faces of anger, and it can be both a positive and a negative force in your life. On the upside, anger often serves as a sign that things are not right and that something needs to be done about the situation, e.g., if facing unfair treatment, having to deal with rude people, or standing in a queue for too long. However, we often make ourselves angry by having unrealistic expectations. The downside of anger, especially out-of-control anger, is a long list of behaviors that lead to ruined relationships, domestic violence, imprisonment, destroyed health, spoilt opportunities, etc. It's quite common that the so-called primary anger often masks emotions which are the real reason we made an angry scene or acted aggressively. The most common secondary emotions leading to anger are fear, often manifested as anxiety and worry, as well as sadness, because of the real or imaginary loss. The reason these feelings cause anger is that fear and sadness make people feel vulnerable or threatened, and to stop themselves from becoming overwhelmed with these emotions, people often shift into anger mode. A friend of mine once said that it was only when she was behaving aggressively that she felt truly alive. So, for example, by shifting your fear of being made redundant or being dumped by your partner into anger mode, you subconsciously give yourself a shot of adrenaline, which makes you feel energized and in charge, rather than helpless and vulnerable. If used positively, this boost of energy, i.e., a moderate dose of anger, can actually help you get out of a tricky situation or find a better solution to a problem. However, if by creating this false sense of confidence and control over the situation, you actually become aggressive and start abusing others, then the adrenaline rush that created this powerful feeling will probably create, rather than solve your problems.
Para seguir escuchando este audiolibro gratuitamente, haz clic en el enlace de la descripción y podrás escucharlo completo sin coste gracias a la prueba de 30 días de Audible.